California and going on here. He took all these people, sent them all away, because they would have gotten in the way of the psychological process. We wouldn't have came to these exact conclusions right now. We would have been off time, a little too early or a little too late, a little off the side, because we'd have been on something else. That's why this hadith, when it goes on to say, I am satisfied with Allah as my Lord. That means all of this stuff happened. The tattletales, it doesn't make any difference. I'm satisfied with that, all of it. Because that's what it takes to get you where you are. You can't be what you are if all of that didn't happen, right? You're satisfied with that. And with Islam, from what I've seen, in this World War III, it's going to take the strongest thing, and I told this to Iranians years ago at the meeting in San Francisco. Yeah, it was San Francisco. And I told them at another place too, that when you got everybody coming your way, you have to have a high standard of akhlaq. I think y'all might remember the word. High standard of ethics and morality. Okay. The ones that we come across, they don't have a high standard of that. Okay, but there's another crew that's doing this, that they have a high standard, but it's still tainted Iranian flavor. When you taste it, you can taste a little bit like Iran, but it's a pretty good mix. But ours, on the other hand, has an international taste. Just like clothes, we can use stuff from anywhere. It's just, we like that. That's just Pakistani stuff. So all the food has a little Pakistani flavor, right? And everybody like it. But it's Negro food. You could tell this is colored stuff. You could tell it's colored mix. Everything that we do, it have a colored mix to it, right? Okay. It takes a balance to incorporate things from everybody and incorporate everything, incorporate every knowledge in the right balance with the right flavor. That's the part we're playing. We've been playing it, especially the last 10 or 15 years. We've been playing it, but we're now more conscious on our mission and the part we're playing. We're more conscious of, global strategists. We've been conscious of the mission all along. But there's times when you get more, when you bullseye conscious. You know what I mean? And that's what I think is happening right now. It's been happening. So, we're satisfied with Allah as God. And Islam, that was the problem with all the other movements. And that's the problem with the church. That's the problem with everything. That there's no ethics or morality in it. You know what I mean? Okay. And everything everybody tried to do to change or influence ethics or morals, thanks to Allah, you got enough of it way ahead of time or something. But it's not necessarily wrong for a preacher to be having a couple of girlfriends on the side. That's part of the, right? It is normal, but that's the style. They do that. Yeah. They do that. And I talked to a few good preachers They said, oh, Mr. Hank, Lord have mercy. They said, oh, them goods. And those are the ones that you know are pretty good. Hey, man, for them, that's a super challenge. I said, man, I was 15 years celibate. I ain't never even heard of a nigga doing no 15 years celibate. And then in between, so if I do 5 years after or 7 or 8 years, who cares? I did enough of that when I was a young guy, when it meant something, right? So the hadiths say that's your biggest problem for anybody. Ain't no problem for me. And it ain't that they ain't shooting at that either. It just bounced off. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a messenger of Allah. Look, my belief is that there's this global change happening and coming right before our eyes, and I think it takes the experience, a historical experience. I didn't know why, being in the hole, I'd walk by a bookcase and I'd snatch a book, a history book or something, and put it under my thing because you wasn't supposed to read in the hole. And I'd just snatch a history book and I'd listen so the police can't come and catch you reading. And I'd be reading the history book in the hole when there's no noise and nothing. Over and over again since the pre-teen, all along. Why would a little nigga like that be getting history books and all of that stuff? It just like when I was getting out of the joint when I was grown. I said, all I have to do with all of what I done learned is turn it upside down. Because the white man then said, this is good and that's bad. All I have to do is fruit and say, that's bad and this is good. Right? That's all I did. That's what I said in my mind. Because all of what he was saying, his history book was a lie. It was upside down. Then I joined a nation and found out the white man speak with a forked tongue. They didn't say it a long time before we did. But just turn it upside down. So if the white man said, this was a great victory, we beat the Indians to a standstill, that means it was a massacre, it was a slaughter.
On that note, you mentioned there's this book called the most evil dictators in history.
Right.
And I remember seeing it at Barnes and Noble.
Right.
But you mentioned like most of the people that was on the cover, and I remember
Right.
they had Idi Amin
Right.
on the cover. They had Mao, he was on the cover.
Yeah.
The one I saw, there was two covers. Then they had Hassan Obama was on the cover.
Right.
But then they also had Stalin and Saddam.
Right.
And so it just was a perfect.
No, it's, hey, alhamdulillah. Look, to a lot of people, this stuff would be boring. But it's not boring to me. I love it. Shoot, when I punched the phone, I done found out, and I just found out, believe it, I've been had the thing for years, that all I had to do is push a button and Mouths come up. I said, wait. So I'm sitting there in all the British films and all the British archives about all the prison camps they had the Mouths in and all the stuff they did. I said, doggone. Then I found out I could push black nationalists or black this. And everything pops up on there. You could hear it. You could get all the lectures. We used to have to go to lectures or order lectures or find them in a magazine. Shoot, you can get any lecture on any subject. And so that might be why things are getting more timely and more accurate. because I don't have to go nowhere. I could sit right there and just, and all of it, right? Instead of running to the library, I can listen to all these white folks lie. You know what I mean? And then all the Muslims semi-lie. Well, I mean, and I can get all of that. I don't even have to leave the house. I can get there. And it'll say, this is a week old, this is 5 years old. You know what I mean? So you can date everything. So right now, I think that's why things are getting more accurate. I mean, we was accurate before. We was accurate on it. All the Lebanon, we was accurate on all that stuff. All the, what we're going to do during this next period and all that. We've been accurate, but now it's not any trouble. You could sit right there. Like when I get back, I'm just going to take a little breather. I may go run, I may not, and push the button, and there it is. And everything. I said, man, this thing here, I said, with all of this, and people don't have no more sense than they had before. Can you imagine? With everything, right, punching the phone. Even on Islam, you can punch a button in every ayat, you can punch a word in, right? The word come up 50,000. I said, people are still dumb. With all this stuff, they dumb. They're getting dumber. Because, the people are, I don't know, maybe it's in the rice or something. Okay, I'm going to kind of wrap it up. But ilm and implementation. Huh?
It's the arsenal of ilm and implementation.
Yes.
So it's like people are getting the knowledge from the phones and everything else, but they not implement.
They ain't implementing nothing. And then they look at you like, what you tell us? How, you don't know that? And all them, and they be running off the Quran and know all them ayats. I said, man, there's something wrong with y'all. Okay, Russia, China, or both. So, it's not that we're trying to relieve them of anything, but they're gonna do everything. But if they're allies, they're not the godless commies anymore. Yeah, maybe they are. I don't care what they are. Yeah. I'm just saying, when you're allies, you have to help your allies. We're going to do a little convincing so that they will understand where we're coming from. Technically, I believe everybody already know. I believe that it's like the Iranian embassy, they know, and I think we're halfway piped in. The people that ought to know or want to know, but it's just the other people. The other thing, well, the great game theory, we'll talk about that again a little later. The great game, Russia and Britain in the 19th century. But now it's the 21st century. The thing I'll close on is history has so many things that correlate with each other. But some of the things are different during their cycle. Like during this cycle, we have to mix a little bit different. Before you had to mix this and then stir it up. Then you mix something else and stir it up. Our job is to study, which we've been doing, and have something to do with the mix, not the ingredients. let me try to, not necessarily the ingredients, but the time of the mixing, because when you mix it a certain way, it's going to set and foam or expand, right? That's our job. So everything that happened to us, we thank Allah. If we would have still been in Oakland doing that, we wouldn't be here where we are now. I believe this is more important than that. I'm actually certain of it. Whatever we would have done out there, where we would have been, it wouldn't be here. And where we are now, wherever we are, with whoever we're with, this is it. This is where we were supposed to be. And everybody that did what they did, that's what they were supposed